Mahā Cattārisaka Sutta, the Great 40. I have heard that on one occasion, the Blessed One was staying at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. There he addressed the monks. Monks, yes Lord, the monks replied. The Blessed One said, monks, I will teach you noble right concentration with its supports and requisite conditions. Listen and pay close attention, I will speak. Yes Lord. The Blessed One said, now what monk is noble right concentration with its supports and requisite condition? Any singleness of mind equipped with these 7 factors, right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, is called noble right concentration with its supports and requisite condition. So you can say this concentration, the noble or RN concentration, is not just the concentration or the one pointedness of the mind. It has it could be equipped with 7 factors to make it productive and useful. So the RN concentration always contains these 7 factors. Of those, right view is the forerunner. And how is right view the forerunner? One discerns wrong view as wrong view, right view as right view. This is one's right view. And what is wrong view? There is nothing given, nothing offered, nothing sacrificed. There is no fruit or result of good or bad action. There is no this world, no next world, no mother, no father, no spontaneously reborn beings, no priest or contemplatives who, faring rightly and practicing rightly, proclaim this world and the next after having directly known and realized it for themselves. This is wrong view. So that is called miccha ditti, or the wrong view. So here the person is thinking that there is no other worlds other than this one. There is no father, no mother. There is no result of giving anything to anybody. That sort of a view. So that's the wrong view. And what is right view? Right view, I tell you, is of 2 sorts. There is right view with fermentations, that is asana, siding with merit, resulting in the acquisition of becoming. And there is noble right view without fermentations, transcendent a factor of the path. So there is this right view with asava, that is the fermentations mean that there is this kama asava, bhava asava, that is this the taint of sensual desires, taints are there, and then this taint of becoming and taint of views, and then there is this taint of ignorance. So those are the 4 taints. So all those taints actually arises because of these 4 nutriments, the edible food and the contact, mental volition, and the consciousness as the condition. Those come to arise. So there are about 6 steps arriving at this answer for someone. So we can have right view, but the right view still produce these fermentations. That means that we have these volitional formations. We will be born again and again and that sort of thing. So we can do the meritorious deeds, for example. Having done the meritorious deeds, that you can actually expect the good result. But still we have to bear the fruit of that good result. As someone who has done a bad thing has to bear this bad karma and face with the bad result, similarly the good ones also has to bear. So, and what is the right view? That has fermentations, sides with merit, and results in the acquisitions. There is what is given, what is offered, what is sacrificed. There are fruits and results of good and bad actions. There is this world and the next world. There is mother and father. There are spontaneously reborn beings. There are priests and contemplatives who, faring rightly and practicing rightly, proclaim this world and the next world, having directly known and realized it for themselves. This is the right view that has fermentations, sides with merit, and results in acquisitions. So that's the mundane right view. So that as opposed to that giving something is not useful, and one would actually think giving something is productive and fruitful. Sort of a simple view. And And what is the right view? That is without fermentations, transcendent, the factor of the path. So that this one is very carefully one has to read. The wisdom, the faculty of wisdom, power of wisdom, analysis of qualities as a factor of awakening, the path factor of right view in one developing the noble path, whose mind is noble, whose mind is free from fermentation, who is fully possessed of the noble path. This is the right view that is without fermentation, transcendent, a factor of the path. This is the supramundane right view. I will go little bit in Pali as well over here. It is actually Arya Chittasa, the noble thought. Anasa Chittasa, the cankerless thought. Aryamagga Samangi, that is those on the 4 ways. So that is anyone who is actually has attained the stream enterer and once returner and never return and Arahant. So whoever attained that one is on the 4 ways. And the Aryamaggam Bhavito, that is developing the Aryan ways. So that is that anyone who is practicing with the eightfold path, doing the eightfold path meditation, maintaining this alobha dosa moha, so that is this the non-delusion, non-aversion, and the refrain from anger, out of the anger. Without anger. So that sort of thing actually create this noble eightfold path with the skill states of the mind, supports the eightfold path. So anyone who is actually following and going in that direction and his thought. So we have four things over here. That is this Arya Chittasa, that is there is this Aryan thought, the cankerless thought, and who is actually in the path already, or someone who is developing the path. Any of that time, if there is wisdom or the faculty of wisdom and the right view in that thought, that is actually the Aryan right view. So this one is bit heavy over here. So what is that right view, that wisdom we are talking about? This wisdom is actually the understanding about the Four Noble Truth itself. Understanding the Four Noble Truth is the wisdom over here. And you can remember we discussed this the Samma Ditti Sutta, right view discourse before, where the Venerable Sariputta was explaining that this right view is that understanding about the Four Noble Truth, or understanding about what is skilled states and the unskilled states, and the roots that are leading to the skilled states, roots that are leading to unskilled states. Understanding those 3 roots, and alobha dosa moha, and these skilled states. Or else the Four Noble Truth itself, or that the one, if someone understands the 4 nutriments, 4 edible food, and in the rising phenomena for edible food, and the cessation phenomena, and the path leading to the cessation of phenomena. Or else you can see that if someone understands this becoming, the existence of craving, because of the existence of craving that we are being born, and when with the birth there is this suffering. Birth is suffering because of the existence, that there is this suffering, and the cessation of that one. So you can see all the dependent origination parts. It's each link in the 12 links is actually equivalent to the right view. So in this wisdom we are talking about here is the understanding of any of those links
in meditation time.
In the meditation time, and that particular thought, that wisdom. Oh.
But doesn't it happen like that? You would meditate today and you would understand today, but the understanding should be a permanent one, isn't it?
The penetration you are talking, if it is penetration, yes. For example, if someone attained, the Aryan states, so those things are remaining within that person. So it is always construct. Remember that Aryans are, when they actually see something, and Arahant when they see that they actually think they actually know that I have actually got rid of this. That's how they perceive. So it is always the normal being construct that this is mine, I like this and so on, and then go in that way. And an arahant always, having got rid of it, they abide. Having got rid of it, they know when it is coming, they are not constructing and grabbing it and holding it. They know they have got rid of
when
it.
you said that, actually, because I think a person that you attain is enjoying the life more than everybody else, because if you eat some food, because that person can enjoy more than that, because you don't have a craving for next time. So
that's right.
you just feel the
Finish it, yes.
Yeah, you feel the taste or whatever, and that's it. And the other people feel it and then look forward to make it again and all these things, and we'll talk about that.
They have a craving for that particular time, and then rest of the hours and days they live thinking about that
right.
particular one I don't have. So that's the biggest thing. And taking a little bit further, that whoever dear to you, your children or whatever thing that dear to you, that lasts only short time. That maybe that sun is small, and then those things, and they grow up and they go away, and the rest of the, not only that life, rest of the samsara is actually apart from that person or thing that we have. So that craving worth get rid of that thinking about it. So over here, so you can see this is the wisdom of the Aryan thought. Now so we discussed the supramundane, the right view, and one tries to abandon wrong view and to enter right view. This is one's right effort. One is mindful to abandon wrong view and to enter and remain in right view. This is one's right mindfulness. Thus these three qualities, right view, right effort, right mindfulness, run and circle around right view. That one itself is a really beautiful statement over there. You see, if you take a very simple example, let's say what Buddha is saying over here is that the right view, right effort and right mindfulness circle around. Now let's take a person who is smoking, who used to smoke, and then one day a doctor would have told him, that good man, if you keep on smoking, your lung and all those things, so you will die, sort of thing. So he has the tendency to smoke and keep smoking. Suppose he has given up, but one day he actually sees someone who is actually smoking. So that tendency, his form of habituality, will come and play a part. So at that particular time, if he remember that doctor's statement, then he is getting the right view that not smoking is good, smoking is bad. So that's the right view. And having got the right view, he put effort. Now that craving is coming up for him to, go and eat and smoke. Now he is putting right effort to give up smoking, to maintain not smoking. And he is mindful, he give up smoking and maintain not smoking. So you can see those three are circling around. And
that's what happens, isn't it? When you understand a little bit of Dhamma, if you really understand that when you try to do something wrong or whatever, that comes up and then stop you doing that. Or the tendency will be very low to do something wrong, even though something happens.
Yeah, it is. And also in the household life, you can say in the family, sometimes that husband will say one thing and child will say one thing, wife will say something. And eventually, even for buying furniture or something like that one, okay, so they come to some sort of a right view. This is the one that's suitable for you, right? And then having got the right view, you put the effort, going to the Havinoma, know wherever it is, and then, to do this one. And they buy it. So everything, every action we do, these three actually circle around. And the other way around also may be happening. With the wrong view, the wrong effort, and the wrong mindfulness. And that is lack of mindfulness. So always these three actually happen. So those three things, Buddha repeated this statement that right view, right effort, right mindfulness is circle run and circle around. And in my example that the doctor is actually the Buddha. Buddha said, young man, this sense pleasures and all those things are bad for you, and getting rid of this is the best, and this is suffering, and get rid of these things. And then we move into the right thought. Of those, right view is the forerunner. And how is the right view the forerunner? One discerns wrong resolve as wrong resolve. That resolve is actually thought over here. Wrong thought as wrong thought. The right thought as right thought. And what is wrong thought? Being resolved on sensuality, on ill will, on harmfulness. This is wrong resolve. And what is right resolve or the right thought? Right thought, I tell you, is of two sorts. There is right thought with fermentations, siding with merit, resulting in the acquisition of becoming, and there is noble right resolve without fermentation, transcending a factor of the path. And what is the right resolve that has fermentation, sides with merit, and result in the acquisitions? Being resolved in renunciation, on freedom from ill will, on harmlessness. This is the right thought that has fermentation, sides with merit, and results in acquisitions. So, Katamaja Bhikkave Miccha Sankappo, Vyapada Sankappo, Vihinsa Sankappo, I am Bhikkave Miccha Sankappo. And what is the right resolve? That is without fermentations, transcendent, the factor of the path. So again, this is important. The thinking, direct thinking, resolve, mental absorption, mental fixity, focused awareness, verbal fabrications in one, developing the noble path, whose mind is noble, whose mind is without fermentation, who is fully possessed of the noble path. This is the right thought that is without fermentation, transcendent, a factor of the path. So, as before you can see, we were talking about the Aryan thought, cankerless thought, and the one who is developing the Aryan, who is going in the Aryan path, and one who has actually attained these states, stream mental, vanshitana, all those states. So in that person, there is this wording over here, takko. Takko is reasoning. Vitakko, initial thought. Appana is actually purpose, mental absorption, that is to fix the mind into one's mind, direct one's mind. Vyapana is that application of the mind, focusing. Abhiniropana is the application of the mind that you will uplift your mind to a certain thing. So this one is has to be seen in a greater detail. So what we are actually talking about over here, we will first look at what is this the thought of renunciation in the normal one. That is this, remember we were talking about right thought is twofold. One is that the one with the sides, with the merits, that is thought of renunciation, thought of non-harming, thought of non-malevolence. And this is actually the Aryan one. We were talking about the Aryan one, mental fixity in that particular person. So first look at the normal persons, ordinary persons, the renunciation. What is this renunciation is? That we actually discussed this one long time ago. I don't know whether you remember. This is actually a Salayatana Vibhanga Sutta. In Salayatana Vibhanga Sutta, I will actually jump into the relevant part here. Buddha talked about 6 kind of household joy. 6 kind of household joy. The joy that arises when one regards as an acquisition, the acquisition of forms cognizable by the eye, agreeable, pleasing, charming, enduring, connected with worldly base, or when one recollects the previous acquisition of such forms after they have passed, cease change. So maybe your old body, young time, when you are young, my body was such and such, or that I have won a lottery ticket or something, you got money, having acquired that sort of thing, and there is this pleasure, the household joy. Stock market goes up, somebody bought shares, so he's so happy that, that sort of thing. So that's the household joy, very mundane. And then what are the 6 kinds of renunciation joy? So Buddha is now talking about the renunciation joy. So we are actually coupling into this discourse over here. The joy that arises when experiencing the impermanency of those very forms, their change, fading and cessation. One sees with right discernment, as it actually is, that all forms, past or present, are impermanent, stressful, subject to change. This is called renunciation joy. So that one would actually contemplate that this is impermanent, subject to suffering and so on. Then the rapture rises, from your head and goes through this one. So you are happy by contemplating. And again, there is this 6 kind of household displeasure. That is the displeasure that arises when one regards as non-acquisition, the non-acquisition of forms cognizable by the eye, agreeable, pleasing, charming, enduring, connected with worldly ways, or when one recalls the previous non-acquisition of such forms. I couldn't get these things, sort of thing. So that is the displeasure. So the stock market either gone down and that person is unhappy, lost something. And there is this, again there is the compared to that one, there is something called 6 kind of renunciation displeasure. The displeasure coming from the longing that arises in one who is filled with longing for the unexcelled liberation when experiencing the impermanency of those very forms, their change, fading and cessation. So here actually we are talking about someone, a monk or someone who is actually trying to attain. He is actually contemplating and meditating, but he has not attained. And then he actually say an arahant, and then he thinks, well, that arahants are abiding in a really good way now. When am I going to become such a one? So there is a renunciation displeasure. Householder is actually worried about losing some sort of a object, that sort of thing. But here, the liberation is the aim, and having not achieved the liberation, that this is more honorable than the householder's thing. And then there is this householder has got 6 kind of household equanimity that arises when a normal person, unheard about Dhamma and so on, that when he sees a form, he got equanimity. For example, if you are sitting down in a chair that is neither comfortable nor hard, then you have some sort of equanimity, right? So that equanimity of the household does not exceed that particular form, because it's only about that chair or only about that form. It doesn't go beyond that one. So there is this equanimity, household equanimity. And there is this equanimity of the person who is actually, the RN person, or person who maybe the same person in the next moment, he actually go and meditate and he attain the state of equanimity in the mind because of the concentration. So we are now talking about 6 things. What are those 6 things? First, householder has got pleasure, displeasure, equanimity. The nekkamma, that is the who has actually renounced, or maybe that same person sitting in a different position, and he has got 3 things: the renunciation, pleasure, displeasure and equanimity. Now Buddha is now giving a good formula. So this is how the renunciation, where we are talking about over here, actual renunciation is this way. So Buddha is asking to replace the householder's 3 things with the person who has given up. Renunciation, pleasure. So for example, we are giving up the household pleasure with the renunciation pleasure. It's more pleasurable than the householder's one, because then when you go into the concentration, rapture flows on and it runs for hours and hours, no harm all the time. So householder is actually worried about that I lost this particular thing or something, and the renunciation person is actually worried about that I have not liberated yet. Okay, so that's that. So replace the householder's displeasure with the renunciation displeasure. And then Buddha said,
isn't that similar?
Mm-hmm.
Like you are not happy anyway, whatever.
Yeah, but this one is more honorable and noble than the other one. If he is actually thinking about the liberation, the other person has lost a car or tire, car
He's
tire.
still clinging.
Yeah.
Clinging to things when you are a householder.
That liberation over there is actually it is also craving, but that craving is okay. Okay, if someone is actually thinking, have a craving for the liberation, it is kusala. It is a skill state, not an unskilled state. So that is actually, this unskilled state is replaced by the skill state. So equanimity, the householder's equanimity, to be replaced by the renunciation equanimity. So that would actually replace the householder's side 3 things with the renunciation 3 things. And Buddha did not stop over there. So the Buddha's renunciation goes further. Okay. So Buddha said now, rather than thinking and worrying when I am liberating and sort of thing, and that is the renunciation displeasure, because of the renunciation pleasure, go and abide in that renunciation pleasure. So go into the high concentration, rapture and all those things, and then get rid of the renunciation displeasure. So be happy. So he is actually making you happy all the time. So when Buddha said that when you get the renunciation pleasure, replace that one because of the renunciation equanimity, because of that one, give up the renunciation pleasure. Just don't be happy and stay there. Equanimity is a better state than the other one, is more stable. Because in the pleasurable state, you are sort of biased. Because you want the pleasure and you are biased towards the pleasure. And you don't see much, far away. You see more than the householders, that situation. But still there is this biasness because I'm clinging for the pleasure. So when you get rid of the pleasure, whether there is pleasure or no pleasure, he doesn't care. So there is this equanimity. So Buddha didn't stop over there either. Buddha said, now this equanimity, the renunciation equanimity is diverse. That is, regarding a form, he got the equanimity. Regarding a sound, he got the equanimity. Smell, taste, all those things, mental phenomena, got the equanimity. So there is one renunciation, that is that the singleness of the mind, when you actually meditate on the space is infinite, consciousness is infinite. So giving up this form, only concentrating on the space is infinite. There is this single, this equanimity. That equanimity is better than this 6 kind of equanimity having over here. So Buddha went on that path, and then at the end Buddha said, now having reached that the single equanimity, by depending and relying on non-fashioning, abandon and transcend the equanimity coming from the singleness, dependent on singleness. Now this one is actually, the Pali word is atta mayatang, is actually not made of thatness. So all the concentrations we are talking about, starting from the pleasurable ones and all those things, all are constructed. You go into the space is infinite, consciousness is infinite, all those things made. It's made of something, right? Because your construction. Give up that one as well. So that the renunciation, thought of renunciation is that deep. Okay. Now when you couple this one back to the right view, so this person is actually now have the right view. For example, there is this birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering, and so on. So having meditated that one, and then he actually see why is this suffering arises. So the craving is the cause that he will see in a way that this is craving is the one that creating this suffering. So naturally he get the thought that I need to give up the craving. So the third noble truth is coming up as well. So and then the path is coming to develop the skill states to do this one. So in this particular thought, now from the right view, you can see that we actually already mentioned, having seen that this actually the birth is suffering, aging is suffering, all created because of craving, and give up the craving is the word that is coming up over there, right? So over here you can see the right thought is actually constructing the very same thing, very same right view, that this is suffering, this is the cause of suffering, this is the cessation of suffering, this is the path leading to the cessation of suffering. It all the time is construct, fixing, mental fixity. Remember that those words that using this one is saying that is Takko vitakko. Reasoning, initial thought, the mental absorption, application, focusing, application of the mind. So the right thought, in that RN thought, or the person who is actually developing the RN one, from the right view, he arrives at the right thought. The Buddha later on explained, the right thought proceeds from the right view. So the right view is the forerunner. Out of that one, we get the right thought. So the right thought actually fixed completely to about the Four Noble Truths, or the equivalent form about the right view. For example, that we discussed that the Samma Ditti Sutta, where that this, because of the existence, there is this birth. Birth is suffering. Or to the understanding of that sort of thing. This one actually fixing. Again and again, it's actually uplifting the mind and putting it onto it. Setting that mind back to the same thing. You are not going away from anywhere else. It is the right view about this suffering and the cause of suffering. So where would actually it reach? You can see it reaches the Nibbana, because the cessation of the craving is the one valuable over here. It is the only thing that remains. If you actually couple this one with the previous discourse, we were actually just talking about, Buddha said, replace these things, and eventually you go to look that one as well. So the right thought always fixed into the same view. That is the Four Noble Truth, and actually is the Nibbana that it is actually fixing to.
It is not relative, right? Like the other thoughts probably can be relative, like
no, this is not relative.
Yeah.
No, this is actually having understood at that particular time, yes, this is suffering. Not because someone is actually telling you, by you having understood your own contemplations, having seen again and again, having analyzed again and again that birth is suffering, aging is suffering. When you say birth is suffering, you would have to see that one only, not only for me, not only for others, this part, everybody, in the whole of universe, where you even haven't seen, that other worlds, divine worlds, Brahma worlds, wherever it is, birth is suffering has been seen, whatever the form is. So it's not relative. So again, Buddha repeated that statement that the one try to abandon wrong thought and enter into right thought. This is one's right effort. One is mindful to abandon the wrong thought and enter and remain in the right thought. This is one's right mindfulness. Thus these three qualities, right view, right effort, right mindfulness, run and circle around the right result, right thought. So it is again circling. You see, each step, when it is repeating, circling around, parivara, that means it is purifying that thought itself, because the right effort is actually to get rid of whatever the unskilled states, and to develop the skilled states and maintain the skilled states. So it is a purifying state, and mindfully doing that. Of those, right view is the forerunner. And how is the right view the forerunner? One discern wrong speech as wrong speech, and right speech as right speech. And what is wrong speech? Lying, delusive, tale-bearing, abusive speech, idle chatter. This is the wrong speech. And what is the right speech? Right speech, I tell you, is of two sorts. There is right speech with fermentations, siding with merit, resulting in the acquisition of becoming, and there is noble right speech without fermentation, transcendent, a factor of the path. And what is the right speech? That has fermentations, sides with merit, and results in acquisitions, abstaining from lying, from delusive tale-bearing, from abusive speech, and from idle chatter. This is the right speech that has fermentations, sides with merit, and results in acquisitions. You see that if you see the right view, the noble truth, you only speak of the truth. You don't want to lie. So you can see that with the right view, this one is actually occurring as well. And having seen that this is suffering, you don't want to harm anyone for him to suffer in as well. So this skill states coming up from the other one.
This results in acquisition mean has benefits?
Yes, that means benefits in that you will be born in the good world, and then you get the birth, good birth, with the right speech, for example, since you are not lying, and people believe you. When you actually speak, people believe. Then there are people who speak, people don't believe at all. So there are those qualities coming up, and being born in the good world is the main thing. So this is actually abstaining from lying, divisive tale bearing, abusive speech, and idle chatter. This is has the fermentations. And what is the right speech? That is without fermentations, transcendent, the factor of the path, the abstaining, desisting, abstinence, avoidance of the four forms of verbal misconduct in one developing the noble path, whose mind is noble, whose mind is without fermentation, who is fully possessed of noble path. So you can say Buddha used the same Aryan thought, the Aryan who is actually cankerless thought. One is having a cankerless thought, and in that person, at that particular time, whoever, in following the Eightfold Path, for example, at that particular time, abstaining from these things. You see, the wrong speech probably can come about that. So the right speech is actually the birth is suffering, aging is suffering, right? If someone for a second actually think the birth is not suffering, while it is suffering, so you can say it is the wrong speech. So at this particular time of the meditation or the Aryan thought, it is that completely knowing about the Four Noble Truth, that this is true. So abstaining from the opposite of that one. So it is actually pushing you into the right direction, and the mind is always uplifted to the right thought and the right view. Because of the right view, this arises. So mental fixity is now guaranteed at that time because of these things, these skill states of the mind. And actually analyzing and telling this one is very lengthy to say. We have to go to the Paticca-samuppada, and but it has been explained to a certain extent how if the non-delusion, non-aversion, and the non-harming, and how it is actually creating the Eightfold Path. It is supported, Eightfold Path. Factors are sustained on those the skill states of the mind. And one tries to abandon wrong speech and to enter into right speech. This is one's right effort. One is mindful to abandon wrong speech and enter and remain in right speech. This is not right mindfulness. That these three qualities, right view, right effort, right mindfulness, run and circle around right speech. Isn't that happening as well? When you have the right view, or should I lie or should I not lie? I should not be lying. It is coming up, and put effort. No, I'm not going to lie, right? And mindful, refrain from lying. So this is.
And again, you think that yes, that thought came, but I haven't put it out.
Yes, yeah. So that's the effort, that the mindful, because of the mindfulness, and then you are actually getting rid of it. And
perspectives can be varied, right? Perspectives, how we look at things. You may think that something is good and I might think something is bad. So there is no right view there, because
that is because of the doubt. Because you have the doubt whether this is right or this is wrong. This is the perspective that you are actually taking it to. Because not knowing the Ara and Dhamma, we think this is also right. It's okay to lie for a small thing. Okay, but Buddha said, do not lie for anything.
No, I'm not talking about those things, but if you look at a person or something, and say, she's good or she's bad, you say from your experience what happened to you, and somebody else can say,
yes, I see what you mean. Yes. But again, you have not actually analyzed that person's skill states and unskilled states, right? What you see is what you actually describing. That person may be a really bad person. So
it depends on
how you actually perceive it. So that perception can be wrong. That's the issue.
And then why do you have to think, if you understand the Dhamma and if you behave according to Dhamma, why did you have to think that that person is good or bad? And it's none of your business if you are not clinging to that.
If he's good, then we are clinging. If he's bad, we are going to react on. So either it lead to anger or the attachment. So thinking about the noble truth is the best for even for that second. So that will actually productive and work. So again that so we talk about the right speech, and the Buddha said that the right view is the forerunner. And how is the right view forerunner? One discerns wrong action as wrong action, and right action as right action, samma kammanta. And what is wrong action? Killing, taking what is not given, and the sexual misconduct. This is wrong action. And what is right action? Right action, I tell you, is of two sorts. There is right action with fermentation, siding with merit, results in the acquisition. And there is noble right action without fermentation, transcendent, the factor of the path. And what is the right action that has fermentations? Sides with merit and results in acquisitions, abstaining from killing, from taking what is not given, refraining from sexual misconduct. This is the right action that has fermentations, sides with merit and results in acquisitions. And what is the right action that is without fermentations, transcendent, the factor of the path, the abstaining, desisting, abstinence, avoidance of the three forms of bodily misconduct. In one, developing the noble path, whose mind is noble, whose mind is without fermentation, who is fully possessed of the noble path. This is the right action without that is without fermentation, transcendent factor of the path. You see that this the unskilled states like killing. Because of the killing, that there is this the anger that is arising. The person who is angry is actually doing the killing. That is right. And when you refrain from the killing, then the right speech, right action, right livelihood all arises. That they refrain from killing. So it is that it goes in that way. And so in the Aryan thought, in the meditation time, who is following this one, and he is actually completely renounced that harming to others. The loving kindness is now coming to the forefront, and he is actually, his mind become so enlarged. So he is having the loving kindness for the whole world at that time. And one tries to abandon wrong action and enter into right action. This is one's right effort. One is mindful to abandon wrong action and to enter and remain in right action. This is one's right mindfulness. Thus these three qualities, right view, right effort, right mindfulness, run and circle around the right action. So again you can see, for every action, the view comes first. Killing is bad, not killing is good. And put effort not to kill. And then mindful, attain the not killing state and the not harming states. And of those, right view is the forerunner. And how is the right view the forerunner? One discerns wrong livelihood as wrong livelihood, and right livelihood as right livelihood. And what is wrong livelihood? Scheming, persuading, hinting. So actually this part of the explanation is not in that particular the discourse. It is actually sort of added over here by the translator. And in the discourse, it actually only says that the one is get rid of the wrong livelihood and remain in the right livelihood. So the wrong livelihood is actually explained somewhere else, like that. For example, someone, for example, take a monk who actually has got jhana state, attainments of the higher concentration. And having attained those concentration, he would actually tell others that, I have attained this level, although not having attained. Someone who has not even attained that one, he is telling others that I have attained such and such state, because he see that those who have attained that one, were treated properly. So to get those things, he actually say these things. And Devadatta, for example, and he was actually taking children and the cuddling them and sort of thing, so that people think, okay, this bhikkhu is really good and looking after my child as well, sort of thing, and supporting. So that sort of thing. And for us, for householders, it is this, we can't do this soldiering, working for the army, that sort of thing, and selling illicit liquor, selling liquor, meat, that sort of thing. So, so that is this the right livelihood, and what is the right livelihood? That is without the fermentation, transcendent factor of the path, the abstaining, desisting, abstinence, avoidance of wrong livelihood in one developing the noble path, whose mind is noble, whose mind is without fermentation, who is fully possessed of the noble path. Remember, always Buddha talking about four thoughts over here. Is the factor of the path. One tries to abandon wrong livelihood and enter into right livelihood. This is one's right effort. One is mindful to abandon wrong livelihood and to enter and remain in right livelihood. This is one's right mindfulness. That these three qualities, right view, right effort, right mindfulness, run and circle around right livelihood. Some people who are working for the defense actually give up the defense job, for the sake of following the Eightfold Path. Because that, when you are in the defense, you are actually buying arms, you are, thinking about some sort of a plan to kill others. So put effort and apply for another organization, go for that one, and mindful, and go into that one.
What happens if you, like this, if you see somebody is killing a person, and then I know we discussed about that some time ago, and it's the same thing, it's none of your business anyway, but we tell the police, and this person killed that man, and then that person will be in trouble after that, isn't it? He's going to jail.
Yeah, but that is actually, if you are questioned by the police, you have to tell the truth, and you have you are doing a good thing even for that particular man. The person who actually killed someone, let's say he killed someone, and then you actually report it to the police and police capture him, and he is actually now prevented from further killing. Okay, so if he kills someone, okay, he can kill more. So that you are helping that person in the sense that he is actually going for hell. He may be going for the further hell if you actually not do it. So Buddha said that someone may be affected by this sort of thing, but it's trifling. It's nothing to worry about, because that is that you are actually doing that one out of compassion for that person. That is good. But if you are doing it because of the anger that he killed that one, I want to sort of thing.
That's what happens, isn't it?
Yeah. So that is
nobody will do that out of compassion nowadays.
Or someone might do it. But the thing is that if you actually have the anger, then you have to bear the fruit of that part. But since if you have done a good thing over there by reporting and that one, so you get the good thing out of it as well. So now, so you can see that these three things are also run and circle. Of those, right view is the forerunner. And how is the right view forerunner? In one of right view, the right resolve comes into being. So you can see, right thought proceeds from the right view. And then Buddha said, and the right speech proceeds from the right thought. And the right action proceeds from the right speech. So it goes in that, eightfold path, coming from one to another. Often this is a misconception the people have got, even the Buddhist monks got. And I can actually show you certain books written by even Western monks has also written this way. How come the right view is the developed? Because if you understand the right view, then you understood the Noble Eightfold Path. So we are actually talking about each time. It's a relatively. You are learning and mastering a part of it. You see, you have not actually understood the birth is suffering, but you might have understood aging is suffering. So with that right view goes through, and each path that you approve, having understood you approve, send you through this path. So the right thought comes from the right view, right speech proceeds from the right thought. So then the right action comes from the right speech, because you are actually shouting and all those things. you see, then next stage you can see you are leading for killing, that person or whatever it is. If you refrain from that one, you are going for the right action, for not killing. So the right livelihood proceeds from the right action, and the right effort proceeds from the right livelihood, and then the right mindfulness proceeds from the right effort, and right concentration proceeds from the right mindfulness. So mindfulness is like is the one that holding the concentration. What is actually holding? Now think about at this particular point, what is it it's holding? We are now actually reached the concentration level. Buddha is talking about with the 7 requisite conditions: with the right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, and right mindfulness. All 7 factors are there. What these 7 factors do? With the right view, we know that this birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering. And the craving is the one that creating this problem. The cessation of the craving is the best for me. And this is this path. So the right thought, renunciation, that the householder's path and the other path that we just discussed. So it is actually fixing the mind to the same right view. And those that sila, virtue part, actually uplifting the mind and holding it. And you are mindful. The mindfulness remained over there guarding the mind because of this virtue. That virtue is there and the effort is there. The effort to discard any evil things. So that mindfulness is now again and again presenting whatever thing it is in the world. That birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, nothing else. And it is presenting before you that because of the craving this has arises. The rising phenomena is the craving. And the passing away phenomena is the cessation of craving. So this is the concentration, mental fixity with the other 7 things. So this is a very rich mind at that time. Very calm, very rich with the substance of this the skill states. And over here, Buddha said, and the right knowledge arises from the right concentration. So the concentration is there about this thing, and the knowledge arises, yes, it is suffering. It is the cause of suffering. It is the cessation of suffering. And from the right knowledge, there is right release. Because now he knows that all these things are constructed, and leaving out of these constructions is the best. And he is getting liberated out of these constructions, volitional formations. So Buddha said that one of right knowledge, right release comes into being. Thus the learner is endowed with 8 factors, because the learner has got 8-fold path: right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and the right concentration. And the Arahant got the other 2, the right release and the right knowledge. So there are 10 over here. Now Buddha is actually explaining what are those 20 skillful states. Of those, right view is the forerunner. And how is the right view the forerunner? In one of right view, wrong view is abolished. So you can see with the right view, wrong view is abolished. So it has 2 parts in it: right view and the abolishing of the wrong view. With that one, you can see the many evil unskilled qualities that come into play with the wrong view as their condition are also abolished. Since the wrong view is abolished, anything that coming out of that wrong view is also abolished. While there are many skillful qualities that have right view as their condition, go to the culmination of their development. So because of the right view, every good qualities are being now developed. So again, Buddha went about the right thought, that in one of right thought, the wrong thought is abolished. And one of right speech, wrong speech is abolished. So whatever the bad qualities, because of the wrong speech, they are also gone. You can see that when you actually follow the Eightfold Path, and I can remember first thing I actually got, thought that I should give up is these frivolous talks, that making other people laugh and all those things. It has a tremendous effect on you when you are actually doing the meditation. These factors, because that let's say you make some people laugh and happy in the meditation time, also that tendency is also coming in a way and plays like a ghost inside. And when you give up, your mind is silent. So bad qualities all go away. So you can see there are, because we have 10 for the Arahant, so the right view, right thought, right speech up to the right release. So there are 10 good qualities and 10 bad qualities abandoned. So therefore there are 20 factors over here. And so Buddha said, thus monks, there are 20 factors siding with skillfulness and the 20 with unskillfulness. This Dhamma, discourse of the great 40, has been set rolling and cannot be stopped by any contemplative or priest or deva or mara or brahma or anyone at all in the world. So you can see that with the right view, right thought, that we get that 20 good factors, and then there is this wrong thought, wrong view, and all those things. There are another 10 wrong release as well. Because of that one, there are 20 bad factors. So there are 40. That's why it's called Great 40. Mahā Cattārisaka. Cattārisaka is 40. So Buddha said, if any priest or contemplative might think that this Great 40 Dhamma discourse should be censored and rejected, there are 10 legitimate implications of his statement that would form ground for censoring him here and now. If he censors right view, then he would honor any priest and contemplative who are of wrong view. He would praise them. If he censors right resolve, and Buddha repeated the same thing. And then at the end, Buddha said that even Vassa and Vanna, those teachers from Mokkala who were proponent of the no casuality, no action. So there are people who say there's no result of giving and all those things. Then these are the proponent of those Dhamma. But they are also not censoring this. They are not thinking that this should be censored. So that's a Great 40 discourse. Now, although we went through this one, you can see this one is very heavy. This is the best discourse to understand the Eightfold Path. I think I probably have read this one 60 times or more. And so this is so deep. More you think, more you see it. So read it more and more, and keep on doing the meditation about this thing. And that's the path to liberation, Eightfold Path. So this is the best one to understand this Eightfold Path and how it is in action.